Hello there, friends. It's Jimmie Maverick, and hey, you know what? I want to help you win your fantasy draft this season, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So this is, we are going to do a mock draft, 12-team half-point PPR mock draft, picking from the 10th position. What kind of team can we build? Well, we're going to find out, and we're going to use my app, which is called My Perfect Fantasy Draft, to help us pick players tonight. And you're going to see we're going to build ourselves an awesome team as a result. So I invite you to please go to my website, fantasyfootballmaverick.com, and that's where you'll be able to access the app. It's available exclusively through this website, and it is a web-based app, so you can access it from any web-connected device. So your phone, your tablet, your computer, however you want to use it. When you enter into the app, it has a quick setup, but it has 3 simple questions, and so you just need to answer them. So the first one is, how does your league score points? So we have a half-point PPR league, so we'll go ahead and we'll select that. Do you want to engage Jimmie's recommended player filters? Normally I do say yes, but let's just say no so I can show you all the players on the list and how it works. And then the third question is do you want to enter draft mode? And so all you need to do is just put in the size of your league. So we'll put in a 12-team league. We will put in that we are picking 10th. And we'll go ahead and we'll enter draft mode. So you can see the player list right here. You've got position filters here. So if you want to look at just quarterbacks or running backs, you can use those filters. Down below, this thing that just popped in, this is the draft mode filter. So this is for every round of your draft. And so we'll just go through this as we go through this live draft here. And we've got some recommendations right here, which I'm just going to minimize so we can just see the names. And then down below, we've got the player list itself. So when you're looking at this and you're looking, we've got the first pick at 10, we got the second pick at 15. What you're seeing here, if we sort it by draft position, is you're seeing all the players from pick 6 to pick 16. All right. So there's a little bit of overlap between our rounds. And you can see here the little gun marker indicates that these guys are long shots, which means there's less than a 50-50 shot that they will be available at our pick. The reaches are the guys that are going to be the long shots on the next round. So that's important to consider. And as far as the recommendations, my app is recommending, So the way the recommendations work then, because it's not sorted by the expected draft position, instead it's sorted by what I call the VORC score, which stands for value, outlook, reliability, and consistency. It's these 4 columns right here. The 4 key stats is what I call them. And based on how they score on each of these stats, they get points. And then those points are added up. That gives you the VORC score. Obviously, you want to focus on players that earn the most VORC points. And what I like to say is just focus on players on the top half of the list and generally avoid the players on the bottom half of the list because those are bad choices for whatever reason. It can be any number of reasons: poor value, poor reliability, poor consistency, a lousy outlook. You know, there's all sorts of different things that can factor in, and sometimes it's more than one thing that's bringing them down. But focus on the guys on the top of the list. So you can see right now, the app is recommending Travis Kelce, Joe Mixon, or Dalvin Cook with our first pick. So let's just go here and see what's going on. Okay, so the draft has started. So what I'd like to do is let's put these guys in on the queue. Travis Kelce, so we'll go, let's see here, we'll go Kelce. Whoops. We'll go Mixon. Where is Mixon? There he is. And we will go Cook right there. And of course, we'll see if any of these other players, these higher rated players, make it to us. Now, I am not the kind of person who typically takes a tight end first, although Kelce is not a bad choice. You certainly get a positional advantage by taking him. But I do think we definitely need to go running back first. So I like the idea of going with Joe Mixon. He is the best running back on the board. I do see Le'Veon Bell here. And Bell, let's see, Bell does not rate very well for a number of reasons. Look at his VORC score, 6 points. That's not good. So let's go ahead. We'll take Mixon first, and it's going to cycle back to us very quickly. So let's go to the second round. And you can see that Kelce is still on the recommendation list because he is currently going at pick 16 and we are at pick 15. So we could be able to get him here if we wanted to, but I like the idea of going an elite wide receiver in the second round. We got Tyreek Hill and Juju Smith-Schuster being recommended to us. And so I like the idea of going with one of them. So let's cue those guys up. There's Juju. There's Tyreek. And as far as who do I like better, well, just based on the VORC score, I do like Tyreek better than Juju, although they're very close. They're only 1 point apart on the VORC score. That's very close. Their values are almost the same. One is value rank is 9, one value rank is 10. But I definitely want a piece of the Kansas City offense, and I think Tyreek is a great way to go for that. Now, we can see here, is there anyone else that we would be particularly interested in? And again, there's Kelsey right there, and Cook. We could take Cook if we wanted to, but I'm not really interested in that. Let's go with Kelsey. Great second choice. So we got Hill, we got Tyreek Hill, and we got Joe Mixon to start this draft out. And let's move along. Let's go to the third round. So in the third round, we are looking, and it is recommending Kerryon Johnson, a running back who I really wasn't very strong considering very strongly, but after the departure of Theo Riddick, his value really shot up, and he offers fantastic value. Look at that. His value rank is 21st. We're going to be at pick 34. We're going to be able to get him. So that's nearly a full round. That's actually more than a full round of value by taking him at this point in the draft. Now, you can also see that there is a player ranked above him, Derrick Henry, who is another player I'm very big on, but right now he is dealing with an ankle injury, and that just scares me. And quite frankly, I don't draft injured players. That's one of the big things. As soon as this injury designation is on a player, they're basically off my list. They're off my recommendations because the only time you can control injuries is during the draft. So I draft 16 healthy players every time. Go into the season 100% healthy. You don't have to worry about any of that. Now, of course, if Henry does come back and, is as a full participant in practice, that's the key words that I look for, full participant, I will remove the injury designation and he will be back on my recommendation list. But I love the idea of going Kerryon Johnson. You can also see it's recommending Robert Woods, Stephon Diggs. I think we need to stick with the running backs, though. So if somehow Kerryon is not available, Josh Jacobs is also a player who I'm very interested in. His value rank is not nearly as good, but he's still a fair value play for this point in the draft. So let's queue up Johnson and Jacobs. And what I'll do is I'm just going to pause the video till we're within 3 of our next pick, and we'll see how it ends up and who we get. All right, so unfortunately, I just saw Kerryon Johnson just got selected right there at 30th. Got selected a little earlier than we expected, but you can see that Josh Jacobs is still on the board. Derrick Henry is still on the board, as well as Stephon Diggs and Robert Woods. Those are all very fine players. And like I said, I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm probably going to go, well, let's see here. Now, as far as value goes, Derrick Henry, 25th ranked value, Josh Jacobs, 32nd ranked value. That's very, very close. So what I think I'm going to go with, I want to go with the healthy player. Let's go ahead. We'll take Josh Jacobs with this pick, and then it's going to cycle back to us very quickly. So you can see it's recommending Brandon Cooks, Tyler Boyd, Phillip Lindsay. If we stay on the running back theme here, which I'm very aggressive with running backs early, Derrick Henry is a long shot to make it to us. Phillip Lindsay, James White, David Montgomery. So there are some good options here. Phillip Lindsay's stock is dropping a bit, and his value rank is not great for where we're picking. But you can see that someone like David Montgomery, whose value rank is 41, is very much a fair value pick for the 4th round. A fine choice. Let's go ahead and we'll take, whoops, sorry about that. We'll go ahead and let's queue them up. So I'm going to queue up Lindsay. Oh, is Lindsay already gone? Holy cow. All right, but we will go ahead and David Montgomery, there he is. So we will take him as our flex running back. So I think that's a great option there. Let's jump back to the draft in the 5th round. Again, I do try to get another running back. Again, you just want to stack up as many as you can early. Now, there's not a lot of great choices in this round, so we might go wide receiver this round. Our options are basically James White and Tevin Coleman. White does offer decent value here, but frankly, I do not trust New England running backs before pick 100, so I'm not inclined to take him. I've also been hearing lots of noise out of camp that both Sony Michel and Damien Harris are getting lots of passing down work. On that team, I think White is like I said, I just don't recommend him. It's just such a risk when you're talking about New England running backs. Just go late. Damien Harris is almost on every team I take. Go for him because I think he's going to be the better option in this backfield. And Tevin Coleman just doesn't offer great value. Look, his value rank is 76th versus pick 58. So let's go look at wide receivers. Robby Anderson, Alshon Jeffrey, right at the top of the list. They both offer great value. Actually, look at that. Nearly a full round of value in the 5th round. So let's go ahead and queue up Anderson and Jeffrey. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause till we're within 3 of our next pick, and we'll see where we're at, and we'll see who we end up with. All right, so it's almost back to us now. You can see both Jeffrey and Anderson are still on the board. And so we're just waiting to see. And there's Robby Anderson right there at the very top of the list. So we just got to hope that this guy, Jimmie, does not take him, and then we will be good to go. So Robby Anderson, great option in the 5th round. Let's keep going. 6th round coming up quick. So who's it recommending? Jarvis Landry, Kenyan Drake, Alshon Jeffrey. I still want to get us one more running back. I got to say, half-point PPR, I very much like Kenyan Drake. He is going to be sharing time with Kalen Ballage, but the guy last season, he was targeted like 80 times. I expect that to happen again this year, if not even a little bit better. I think Drake would be a great option at this point of the draft. Let's see if he is still available. He is still on the board, so let's go ahead and we'll highlight him. Are there any other running backs of interest? You can see here, well, Tevin Coleman's a long shot. Lamar Miller is a guy who, again, a plain vanilla, boring running back if I've ever seen one. But holy cow, they cut Dante Foreman. He's really the only guy back there. He's going to get the volume. He's not going to be a great, super productive back. But when you're talking, does he have flex value? I think he absolutely does. So I'm not recommending him yet, but I'm close. And I've been so disappointed by Lamar Miller so many times. It's just very hard for me to get myself to say, okay, we should take him. But you know what? We're going to take Drake. You know, it's actually a contract year for Drake. I'm very high on him. I think he's going to do very well, even if he does split time with Ballage. Because you know, last year he actually did all right, and he was splitting time with Frank Gore, so he's used to it. And like I said, I think the receptions is going to make him a startable asset every week. But he's our 4th running back, so he is strictly depth, and I think it's a great depth player to have. So let's go to the next round, the 7th round, and you know, we've already got let's go here. So in the 7th round, it's recommending only one player recommended. Again, this is the short round, right, because it goes 7th and then into 8th. But Vance McDonald, the Pittsburgh tight end, one of my top targets for tight ends, because he's available so much later than all the others, and he offers tremendous upside in that offense. I think he's going to see a nice boost in targets now that Jesse James is gone, and also Antonio Brown. Some of those targets are going to flow to him. He is in a great position to really do good this year. So I very much like Vance McDonald. Let's get him queued up for our next pick. And what I will do is I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pause. I guess, you know what? Let's also look at the 8th round before I pause, because it's always so rushed. Let's see who's on the 8th round. So the 8th round recommendations: Sammy Watkins, Darius Geis, Dede Westbrook. Again, all these guys are really good, solid options at this point in the draft. I mean, obviously, they do have injury issues, all of them actually, but Darius Geis is offering tremendous value at this point. He's just being completely ignored because of the knee, because it's a crowded backfield. But let me tell you what, I'm confident he's back at practice. He's a full participant. That's what I need to see. He's ready to go, and he's got the talent. I mean, you remember hearing all about him last year when he was a rookie. Well, I'd be willing to take a chance on him in the 8th. And again, remember, this would be our 5th running back if we would take him. But let's go ahead and get all these guys queued up. We'll make a decision at that point, and I will just pause the video now, and we will come right back. All right, so it is almost back to us. You can see Vance McDonald still on the board. Watkins, Geis, Westbrook queued up for the 8th round. And one thing that I do that is very useful is I utilize the queue on the draft board, because that way, if a player happens to fall to a later round, he'll already be highlighted, and I'll be able to see that, and that way I don't accidentally miss out because I got tunnel vision on the 8th round players instead of focusing on the 7th round guy who somehow fell to the 8th, okay? But Vance McDonald's there. Great option. I love that tight end this year. That's great. It's going to cycle back to us very quickly. You know, we only have 2 wide receivers, but we have, but we have 5, how many running backs? We got 4 running backs. So I think it would make sense to go ahead and grab a third wide receiver for depth purposes. And, well, look at that. I think the decision was made for us because someone just took Geis. So we could either take Watkins or Westbrook. I think they're both really good options. We already have Tyreek Hill, though. So I don't know if I necessarily want to have Watkins as well. So, well, it's kind of a moot point because someone just took Sammy Watkins. But that's all right because we got Westbrook. I think that's a great option at this point. Look, there's also some other good options here that should have gone around earlier. They might come to us. Christian Kirk, Dante Pettis. I like both those guys. So Pettis would also be a very good option here, but I think Westbrook just has a little bit more value. And, I think he's going to be outstanding this year in that Jacksonville offense with the new quarterback and everything. So, let's see what happens, and I'll just queue up Dante Pettis as well. But, of course, Andrew Murphy decided to take the full 30 seconds to make a decision. All right, so let's go ahead. We'll take Westbrook, our number one choice there. And let's look at the 9th and 10th rounds. So the 9th round coming around, who's it recommending? Larry Fitzgerald. Oh, very much like Larry Fitzgerald. He offers nice flex value in the 9th round. That's a great bargain there. Jared Goff, fantastic quarterback for this year, man. He is so undervalued. I'm amazed because the guy is, in my projections, he's a top 6, top 7 quarterback. So I think he's great. He's on an elite offense with 3 fantastic receivers. The guy's going to be productive. Curtis Samuel getting a lot of positive buzz right now in training camp. Very much like the upside of Curtis Samuel as well. But I think it's a good idea if we did go quarterback at this point. Are there any other quarterbacks this round that we would need to consider? Well, Jameis Winston is a long shot. In the 10th round, the quarterbacks would be Dak Prescott, Phil Rivers, Lamar Jackson, Ben Roethlisberger. I do like Rivers and Jackson. Prescott, not real interested in right now, especially with this whole Zeke thing happening. And Ben Roethlisberger just, I don't think, is consistent enough for me to trust. But we could certainly queue up Goff, Rivers, and Jackson. And then for our other pick, we've got Larry Fitzgerald, we got Curtis Samuel. Let's queue those guys up and we'll get one of them. As far as running backs go this round, it's just LaShawn McCoy, Jaylen Samuels, who is a player I do like, Ronald Jones, not really interested in any of those guys. I think it's, the Tampa Bay backfield's just going to suck. So, anyway, let's get those guys queued up. I will pause the video. We'll come right back. All right, we're back, and look at this. Dante Pettis still on the board. I cannot believe it. If he makes it to us, I will definitely take him. And then we'll grab Goff with the next pick. But right now, I would have to take the most value. Pettis definitely offers the most value. Look at that. He did make it to us. Occasionally you'll see this. Look, we're at pick 106. He's at pick 68. He's been at the top of the board for half the draft, basically. Let's go ahead. We'll grab him. That's a great 4th wide receiver. I'm very happy to have that player. We will now definitely get our quarterback in round 10. And again, just look at the, holy cow, look at this. Nobody's been taking any quarterbacks. Look at this. Cam Newton is still on the board. That is nuts. Carson Wentz, Kyler Murray, Jameis Winston, Dak Prescott. All these guys have somehow exceeded their draft position. They are available super, super late. I got to say, Cam Newton, for me, when healthy, he is a top 3 quarterback every single week. A huge positional advantage. This is a guy that was supposed to go in like the 7th round or something like that. When was he supposed to go? Yeah, look at that. He's a 7th round pick. It's the 10th round. And look at this. We're getting Cam Newton as our quarterback. This is part of fantasy football. This is part of being good at the draft, is being able to get these players that somehow just get forgotten about and left behind. I don't know what happened with Pettis and Cam, but I sure am happy. That is amazing. That is an absolutely amazing pick right there. I'm super happy right now. We will take a second quarterback, though, later because of the issues with his shoulder, because he is an injury risk. But let's keep on going. Let's go to the 11th and 12th round now. So who is it recommending for the 11th round? And, well, there's not much. Deshaun Hamilton, who is not a player I'm really interested in. We've just taken 2 wide receivers. I don't really think we need any more wide receivers. For running backs, who will we consider? Let's see here. Matt Breida, LaShawn McCoy, long shot. Jaylen Samuels, a long shot. So if Jaylen makes it to us, I would take him. That'd be a good choice. Let's look at the 12th round running backs, though. So we got, okay, here's a guy I like, Damien Harris. Man, this is a guy you need to get on your team. I talked about him earlier. This guy has huge potential for the New England backfield, and regardless of what happens, he's going to have his weeks. He's going to be put in there as the starter. I don't think Sony Michel can last a full 16 games, so Harris is going to have his chance to shine. Look, here's Kalen Ballage if we wanted to go there. Matt Breida, Dion Lewis, Kareem Hunt, Adrian Peterson, Ito Smith. So of these guys, again, let's try for Jaylen. Let's try for Damien. Let's try for Kalen. Why not? We'll go with those 3 guys and see what we can do. So I'm just going to pause the video and we will come right back as soon as it's our pick. All right, so it's almost back to us. So Jaylen Samuels, Damien Harris, Kalen Ballage are still on the board. I'm very happy about that. So let's go ahead. We'll take Jaylen Samuels first. And then we'll take Damien Harris. And then I think what we'll do on the next round is we'll get our backup quarterback. And we will go ahead and also get, we will probably get 1 more wide receiver. I'm going to look for a high upside player that's very much being ignored right now. So we'll see what happens with that, but this should be a quick turnaround back to us. And maybe it'll be a quick turnaround, or maybe this guy will take his full 30 seconds, which could certainly happen here. Oh, good. He took his. And now we got 1 more pick, and then we can take our Damien. And is there anyone else that I'm particularly interested in here? Not really. So let's go ahead. We'll take Damien Harris. That's a great pair. And now we've got 6 running backs on this team. So a nice deep core of running backs. We got 1 more bench slot to fill. So let's look at the 13th and 14th round. We can't take any more running backs because they limit it to 6. So let's look at who else is available. Wide receivers. Marquise Goodwin, I've not heard good things about him. I think he's on the bubble to be cut. Who else? Okay, look, here's a great option. Terrell Williams, playing opposite Antonio Brown for the Raiders. He's moving into a number two slot. I think he's got Michael Crabtree upside. Hopefully Antonio Brown will not miss any time with that stupid foot thing that he did to himself. But let's go ahead. Let's queue up Terrell. Look, you've got John Brown, James Washington, Paris Campbell, another player who I'm very interested in. A lot of these guys are just kind of lingering in fantasy irrelevance. So I want to pick guys that definitely have upside. Look at the value rank on Terrell, 90th. We're at pick 159. We can get a guy with top 100 value this late in the draft. That's how you win your fantasy draft, people. Value, value, value. It's the most important thing I consider when I'm looking at players. Of the 4 critical stats, it's definitely the first one that I look at. So let's go ahead and get these guys queued up. We'll get all 3 of these guys queued up, and hopefully we'll get one. So I'm just going to pause the video. I'm going to run it through the final 2 rounds with the defense and the kicker, and then we'll come back. We'll review the team. But this is a damn good team. Shoot, you know what? I just realized that we wanted to take a second quarterback because of, because of the issue with Cam Newton. So we definitely need to take someone. Looking at who's available here, Garoppolo also has injury issues. Let's go with Josh Allen as a backup. So I think that's a great QB too, by the way. Josh Allen has a very safe floor, and I'm excited to see what this offense does this year. I think they're going to be better than most people expect. Let's go ahead and take him. Like I said, I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna finish off this draft. We'll come back. We'll review the team. All right, so we are back. The draft is done, so let's review. Okay, so for our quarterback, we got Cam Newton, and then we also took Josh Allen as a backup. I think that's a great pair of quarterbacks to go into this season with. Let's go wide receivers. Tyreek Hill, Robby Anderson, Dede Westbrook, Dante Pettis, and that's it. I think that's a fine group of wide receivers to start the season with. I think they're all very good options, and all of these guys are startable in at least the flex position this season. So that's great. Running backs. We went very deep on running backs. Joe Mixon, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery, Kenyan Drake, Jaylen Samuels, and Damien Harris. I love that core of running backs. All these guys are solid, and I love the upside of Samuels and Harris. I mean, if anything happens to Connor, Samuels is an RB1 automatic. Damien Harris, like I said, I think he is going to have his chances, and I think at the end of the year, he's going to be the top running back in New England. So just watch for that. Finally, our tight end, Vance McDonald. By the way, I did take Buffalo for the defense because they got a great early season schedule. I usually just stream defenses. And then I took Dan Bailey for our kicker. Like I said, if you want to be successful in fantasy football, just wait to your last 2 picks to take the kicker and the defense. You do not need to take them early. There's always going to be good options. And if you go on to the waiver wire, there's always going to be decent matchups every single week that you can take advantage of with these positions. So don't spend any draft capital on them. Last 2 picks. So thank you very much for watching. That's how it works. I hope you liked it. Please go to my website, fantasyfootballmaverick.com. Try out the app. I'm telling you, it was going to make an absolute difference for you this when you get into that live draft. It's happening. Your draft's happening later this month or early September. Definitely get in there. Try the app out. You can try it out on a couple mock drafts for free. You can unlock a restricted version of the app for free. And then if you like it, the subscription's only $9.95 for a full year, unlimited access, using it on as many fantasy drafts as you are in this season. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it, and happy drafting, everybody.